Have you ever felt like everyone around you is receiving their blessings while you're still waiting? You see friends entering into marriages, starting families, securing their dream jobs, and achieving the financial stability you've prayed for. And yet, you're still waiting. It can feel frustrating, overwhelming, and even isolating. But what if I told you that this waiting isn't a punishment? That you, as a chosen one, are part of a divine plan that's unfolding at a pace only God can orchestrate. The truth is, God saves His best for last. Your waiting is not in vain because His timing is perfect, and the blessings He's preparing for you are beyond what you can imagine. Being a chosen one means enduring a wait that feels endless. You pray, you hope, and yet it seems as if nothing is happening. Your heart longs for the very things you see others receiving, whether it's a loving marriage, a stable career, or the financial breakthrough you've been working toward. It's painful watching others walk into blessings that mirror your own deepest desires. But understand this: your waiting is a part of your divine calling. The struggle isn't meant to break you, but to prepare you. This waiting isn't just about what you're waiting for. It's about who you're becoming in the wait. Patience, endurance, and trust in God are being forged in the fires of uncertainty. Every delay is an opportunity for growth, an invitation to deepen your faith and align yourself with God's heart. You may not see it now, but this season of waiting is preparing you for blessings that are far greater than anything you could have asked for prematurely. Without the struggle, you wouldn't be ready to handle the magnitude of what's coming. It's during these moments of longing and anticipation that the enemy often tries to sow seeds of doubt. The temptation to compare yourself to others intensifies, making it seem like God has forgotten you. But hear this truth: God's silence is not His absence. The delay you are experiencing is not denial. Your timeline is not the same as everyone else's because your purpose is not the same. What God has set aside for you requires a unique preparation process. The waiting process also brings you face to face with your limitations. It reminds you that you can't control everything, that no matter how hard you push or how much effort you exert, there are some things that can only come in God's timing. It's a humbling experience, yet one that teaches you the deep value of surrender. When you learn to let go and trust God's timeline, you discover a peace that surpasses human understanding. This peace sustains you through the frustration, reminding you that God's plan is unfolding even when it feels like nothing is happening. Waiting often feels like standing still, but in reality, you're being moved into a higher spiritual realm. God is elevating you behind the scenes, preparing circumstances, aligning hearts, and setting the stage for your breakthrough. This hidden work is crucial because it ensures that when you step into your blessing, everything will be in place, not just for you, but for those connected to your calling. Your blessing will have a ripple effect, touching others in ways you can't foresee. That's why the waiting process is so vital. It's not just about your readiness, but the readiness of everything surrounding you. There's a vast difference between receiving something good and receiving God's best. So many settle for what's good because it's right in front of them. But you are chosen for something far beyond the ordinary. God's best is reserved for you, and it is tailored to fit your purpose, your destiny. You may not understand why others seem to get what they want immediately, but know this: what you are waiting for is divinely crafted, and it's worth the wait. Settling for a good thing may provide temporary relief, but it will never compare to the satisfaction of receiving God's best. His blessings are tailored specifically to your life, your journey, and your calling. Often we think we know what we need, but God, in His infinite wisdom, knows what is truly best for us. He doesn't want to give you something that will only satisfy for a moment. He wants to give you something that will leave an eternal impact. Think about the story of Sarah and Hagar in the Bible. Sarah, in her impatience, tried to create a solution to her waiting by giving her servant Hagar to Abraham. But that wasn't God's plan. It led to pain, confusion, and turmoil. God had a better plan all along: Isaac, the child of promise. When we try to take matters into our own hands and settle for good, we often invite unnecessary pain into our lives. But when we wait for God's best, we receive blessings that are full of peace and purpose. It's crucial to understand that receiving God's best isn't just about what's good for you in the moment. It's about what will shape your destiny. A good thing can bring happiness, but it can also fade over time. A God thing, however, is eternal, bearing fruit that lasts through seasons. When you wait for God's best, you're not just waiting for a fleeting blessing. You're waiting for something that will become a foundation for your future. It will serve as a stepping stone into greater purposes, opening doors that only God can unlock. What many fail to realize is that God's best often requires the breaking of old mindsets. The good things you've settled for in the past might have limited your vision of what's possible. God's best will stretch you beyond your comfort zone, pushing you into new levels of faith, influence, and responsibility. When His blessing arrives, it won't just meet your needs. It will challenge you to grow, to rise to a higher calling. It's a transformational blessing that redefines your identity, aligns your life with His purpose, and positions you to impact others. God's best isn't only about receiving, it's about becoming. When you receive His best, you also become a better version of yourself. The waiting process refines you so that when the blessing arrives, you're not just capable of handling it, you're transformed by it. God's best comes with a weight of responsibility, and only through the refinement of waiting can you carry that weight with grace. When you finally step into the fullness of God's best, it will be clear that it was not just a blessing for the moment, but a foundation for the legacy God is building through you. God's timing is intentional, and His delays are never without purpose. Every moment that you wait is designed to prepare you for something greater. God isn't making you wait to hurt you. He's using this time to build spiritual strength and resilience in you. Like a diamond being formed under pressure, you are being refined for the extraordinary. Your wait isn't wasted. It's a season of preparation, building you up for the divine breakthrough that's coming. Take comfort in the fact that God is not withholding blessings from you. He is preparing blessings for you. Just as a parent wouldn't give a child the keys to a car they're not ready to drive, God won't release certain blessings into your life until you're fully prepared to handle them. The delay is His mercy. It's His way of ensuring that when the promise comes, you're not overwhelmed by it, but empowered by it. The wait strengthens you in ways you can't even comprehend right now. One of the hardest things to accept is that we are not in control. We cannot manipulate God's timing or force His hand. This waiting season, though difficult, is an invitation to surrender, to trust that God knows what He's doing, and that His plan is better than anything we could script for ourselves. It's in the waiting that your faith is refined, like gold purified in the fire. Every prayer, every tear, every moment of frustration is seen by God, and it's all working together for your good. God's delays are never without intention. He is a God of order, precision, and perfect timing. When you feel like nothing is happening, He is aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in ways you cannot see. Every delay has a purpose. Every pause is for a reason. He is preparing you, positioning you, and pruning you. So when the breakthrough comes, you're ready for it. Without this season of waiting, you might not have the strength, maturity, or wisdom to steward the blessing God has for you. One of the profound truths about God's intentional delay is that it serves to protect you from premature blessings. What you perceive as delay is, in fact, divine protection. Sometimes the things we desperately want in the moment aren't fully ripe, and if given to us too soon, could lead to our downfall or hinder our growth. God, in His wisdom, holds back certain blessings not to withhold good from you, but to make sure that when they arrive, they come at the right time, when they will flourish, not falter. Another reason for God's delay is often tied to the purification of our motives. During the waiting period, we start to realize the true intentions of our hearts. Are we seeking a blessing for personal gain or to glorify God? Are we trying to fulfill our desires, or are we allowing our desires to align with God's will? The longer the wait, the clearer the answers become, and our hearts begin to purify. What starts as a self-centered prayer evolves into a God-centered longing. This transformation is crucial because God's best can only be stewarded by a heart fully surrendered to Him. God's intentional delay also allows for a divine setup that we can't perceive with our limited understanding. Often, God is aligning people and events far beyond what you can see. Maybe the job you're waiting for requires a leader in that company to undergo their own transformation. Or perhaps the person you'll marry is still in a season of growth themselves. God's delay isn't just about you. It's about everything that surrounds the blessing, ensuring that when it arrives, it fits seamlessly into His grand design. The complexity of His orchestration means that sometimes waiting is the only way to ensure perfection. Inside the obsidian inner order, you'll gain access to the modern manifestation mechanics, a powerful guide to help you maximize your waiting season and understand the depth of God's orchestration in your life. God has led you here not just to wait passively, but to rise with purpose, knowing that when the blessing arrives, it will fit perfectly into the life He's aligning for you. In John 2, we read about Jesus' first miracle at a wedding in Cana. The hosts of the wedding had run out of wine, a major embarrassment in those times. But instead of letting the celebration fall into shame, Jesus stepped in. He instructed the servants to fill the water jars, and in a moment of divine power, He transformed ordinary water into extraordinary wine, the best wine saved for last. This story is more than just a display of Jesus' miraculous abilities. It carries a deep spiritual truth for those who feel like they've been waiting forever. Just like at the wedding in Cana, you may feel like you've run out of resources, patience, or hope. You've done everything you know how to do, but nothing seems to be happening. You're standing with empty jars, wondering if God has forgotten about you. But know this, God is in the business of turning emptiness into abundance, just as He turned water into wine. The fact that He saved the best wine for last is a direct reflection of how He operates in your life. He saves His best for those who wait. Jesus didn't just give them any wine, He gave them the best. And that's what God is preparing for you, the best. Not the leftovers, not the remnants, but His finest blessings, crafted specifically for you. Sometimes it feels like everyone else has already received their portion, and you're left with nothing. But in God's kingdom, waiting doesn't mean you're forgotten. It means that He's preparing something extraordinary, something that will make sense only when it arrives. When He turns the water of your waiting into the wine of His blessing, it will be evident that the wait was worth it. In this story, the people at the wedding didn't understand why the best wine had been saved for the end. But those who waited experienced something far beyond what they could have imagined. This is the same with God's chosen ones. You may not understand why you've had to wait so long, but when God's blessings arrive, they will make perfect sense. The quality of what He has for you will far surpass anything you could have settled for along the way. Just as the wine at Cana was of the highest quality, so too will the blessings God pours into your life be of divine excellence. The story of Jesus turning water into wine is a powerful example of how God can take something ordinary and transform it into something extraordinary. What's significant about this miracle is not just the act of turning water into wine, but the timing of it. The wine came after the guests thought the best had already been served. This shows us that with God, the best is never behind us. It's always ahead. When you feel like the opportunity has passed or the time has run out, God is just getting started. He's not bound by human timelines. The servants at the wedding followed Jesus' instructions without fully understanding what was about to happen. They didn't question why they were filling jars with water. They simply obeyed. This teaches us a profound lesson. Obedience in the waiting is crucial. Even when you don't see the immediate result, even when the miracle hasn't manifested, obedience positions you for the breakthrough. Imagine if the servants had refused to fill the jars, thinking it was pointless. They would have missed witnessing the miracle. In the same way, your obedience during the waiting process is what prepares you for God's best. Another remarkable detail in this story is the reaction of the guests. They were astounded by the quality of the wine. In life, when God blesses you after a period of waiting, the result will not just meet your expectations, it will exceed them to the point that others will take notice. They will marvel at how things turned around for you, how the very thing you waited for came to you in a form that was better than you imagined. God doesn't just provide, He provides in abundance, and His blessings are always of the highest quality. Patience is a rare quality in a world that celebrates instant gratification. Many will settle for less because the wait feels too long. They rush into relationships, careers, and decisions because they fear missing out. But not you. You, as a chosen one, understand that settling isn't an option. You are called to wait because what God has for you isn't just good. It's the very thing that will reflect His glory. Waiting positions you for a life that's marked by His favor, a life that surpasses fleeting pleasures and temporary solutions. The pressure to settle is real. Society tells you that time is running out, that you need to grab what you can before it's too late. People around you may question why you're still single, why you haven't advanced in your career, or why you're still waiting for a breakthrough. But as a chosen one, you know that settling isn't an option. You were created for something greater, and deep down, you feel that pull towards something more than what the world offers. Many settle for relationships out of fear of loneliness, for jobs out of financial necessity, and for lifestyles that look good on the outside but are empty on the inside. But settling always comes with a cost. It may provide momentary satisfaction, but it often leads to long-term regret. Those who settle miss out on God's best because they couldn't endure the wait. They accept what's available now instead of trusting that something better is on the way. You are different. You've been called to wait because your life carries a different level of purpose. What you are waiting for isn't just about you. It's about the legacy you're building. The marriage you desire, the career you're praying for, the family you long for. These aren't just personal desires. They are part of a larger plan, one that will impact generations and glorify God in ways you can't yet see. That's why the wait is necessary. For chosen ones, waiting is not just about personal gain, it's about spiritual alignment. They wait because they know that God's best isn't just about fulfilling a personal desire, it's about fulfilling a divine purpose. When you settle, you step out of alignment with that purpose. But when you wait, you're ensuring that every blessing you receive will be perfectly tailored, not just to meet your needs, but to fulfill God's greater plan for your life. The waiting isn't wasted. It's preparing you to walk in alignment with God's will, rather than being distracted by lesser things. The chosen ones wait because they know that settling would mean forfeiting God's best. They understand that patience is the key to unlocking a future that far exceeds their expectations. When you wait on God, you aren't just waiting for a blessing. You are being prepared for a destiny. Every second you wait, you are being molded into the person who can handle the magnitude of the blessing God has prepared. Settling would short-circuit that process, and chosen ones know that their calling is too significant to compromise for anything less than God's perfect plan. The deeper spiritual message behind the miracle of turning water into wine is that God's process involves transformation. Just as water was transformed into wine, your waiting season is transforming you into the person who can handle God's best. You may feel like you're in an ordinary season right now, but God is working behind the scenes to bring about extraordinary results. The transformation isn't just about your circumstances, it's about your character, your faith, and your readiness to steward the blessing when it arrives. The spiritual message behind Jesus turning water into wine is that God's process often seems hidden until the miracle is revealed. No one at the wedding knew what was happening behind the scenes until the best wine was served. In your life, the waiting period is the hidden work God is doing. It may seem quiet on the surface, but just like Jesus' miracle, when the timing is right, God will reveal the best He's been preparing for you all along. This delay is not in vain, but a divine setup for a blessing that will astonish those around you. The deeper spiritual message behind the miracle of turning water into wine is that God's process involves transformation. Just as water was transformed into wine, your waiting season is transforming you into the person who can handle God's best. You may feel like you're in an ordinary season right now, But God is working behind the scenes to bring about extraordinary results. The transformation isn't just about your circumstances. It's about your character, your faith, and your readiness to steward the blessing when it arrives. Chosen ones, your wait was not in vain. Every moment you've spent waiting, praying, and trusting was leading up to the divine blessings that are about to flood your life. God's timing is perfect, and His best is worth every second of the wait. Trust the process, remain patient, and know that the blessings coming your way are going to exceed your greatest hopes and dreams. Don't settle. God's best is coming, and it's going to leave you in awe. Trust that your story is a testimony in the making, and when it unfolds, it will reveal the glory of God in ways that will change your life forever.